I want you guys real quick to meet Taydana. Of course, I like to make it make sense. So Taydana is the creator of a program called Legendary Wealth Builders, of a business called Legendary Wealth Builders. And when she first came to me, she had just quit her job. She had been in finance, the finance industry, and had a lot of experience there for like 15 plus years. And she just quit her job. And so she was like, listen, I need to start bringing in like consistent income. And so I figure I can create a course related to my experience in finance. And so she ended up launching her first course, which was an intro to budgeting course. And then during COVID, she actually relaunched her course, but this time she launched an advanced investing course. And so what ended up happening is her biggest challenge, aside from her marketing, because when we first started working together, we were marketing to the wrong audience. We were marketing to everybody and their mama. But what happened when she relaunched the program is her biggest challenge coming into this whole thing was, am I going to have enough content? Right? Am I going to really be able to put this course together and have enough content to really impact people's lives and really help them achieve freedom? Her big why was building generational wealth and providing alternatives for her kids so that they could choose whether or not they wanted to go to school. If they wanted to go to college, cool. If they did not, then they could do something else because she'd already built the foundation that was necessary for generational wealth. And also she wanted more freedom. She's like, I'm spending too much time. I was going to work and coming home, trying to spend time with my kids and still trying to work on my dreams and all sorts of stuff. And so it was taking away a lot of her time. And so she decided, let's create an online course, something that's going to continue to bring in residual income, something that I love doing and teaching other people how to do it too. And so again, when she first came in, her biggest challenge was not having enough content. And this is exactly what she said. She said, I have a lot of different ideas pertaining to financial topics. However, I have a hard time deciding what topic on and what would give the most value to clients, because I think my course should be focused on a specific topic and not a combination of so many different topics. However, I want to ensure that the one topic I choose has enough content to put together a detailed course, right? And so the struggle was, do I have enough content? Yes, I know I have all the experience, but do I have enough content, and how am I going to put this whole thing together? So let you hear the conversation that I had with Taydana about where she started from, where she is now, and how she really started to put together her content and pre-enroll her students. Here's Taydana. I'm so excited, Taydana, to have you on today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Awesome sauce. So Taydana, you were in, man, I can't even remember which cohort at this point, but you were in
cohort 2.
Oh my goodness. Like, whoa. So we're up to like 14 or 15 at this point. So that is awesome. So you were like towards the beginning of CYOC. So I'm super excited to kind of catch up with you and see where you are and what you've been up to. So let's start there. What you've been up to over this year or so since you joined CYOC? Lots of amazing things.
Yes, it's definitely been a crazy year. Like I launched the first course, which was with a certain topic in budgeting. I didn't get as many signups as I wanted to with the first course. And then so many different things started happening. Then COVID happened, right? And then it just like turns everyone's world upside down. But I looked at that as an opportunity to kind of pivot and really work on creating more content. And since a lot of people were thinking of ways that they could make additional income, the stock markets were plummeting. People were, piquing their interest on how do they start investing? How do they take advantage of it? And I was looking that as an opportunity to kind of jump in, dun, 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 to save the day, talking about, financial literacy, talking about budgeting, talking about investing. And I decided to relaunch my course again, but this time, instead of the focus be on budgeting, the focus be on investing.
Nice. And I know that you saw, well, in between that time, your personal life took off as well. So congratulations again to you on getting married.
Thank you. I know it's been crazy because that wasn't even expected. So I'm home with the children, remote learning, the struggle is real. You think being a working mom is hard. Being a working mom at home while your children is at the table and you're being the cook, you're being the entrepreneur, you're being the referee, you're being the cleaning lady. It is a struggle, but I still pull through and, launched another class.
Yeah, exactly. Like super mom to the rescue. I love it. I can only imagine because I hear it from my sisters. I don't have any children yet, but I got nieces and a nephew, and they're saying the same thing. They're like, girl. So I get it. I get it. I get it. So that's amazing that you're still able to accomplish all of those things. So tell us a little bit more about that pivot that you talked about from teaching a budgeting course to now teaching an investing course. Talk to me about that.
So essentially my whole idea was to get people finances in order because it's so important. Just like the premise of my company, Legendary Wealth Builders, is to teach people financial independence and to teach them how to manage their money and build wealth.
I love that name, by the way.
COVID, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because COVID happened, I was thinking like, this is a time where everyone the ish hit the fan, right? People were realizing how important it is to have your finances together. And then it was just like, take advantage of this opportunity and give people information. So I just kind of started posting information on different financial topics that I thought was relevant. But then I also had a lot of people talking about stocks and getting into investments, and this is dropping and asking me investing questions. And I've been investing for like all of my life, but over the past 2 years, I started trading. And then I was thinking like, maybe this is an opportunity that I could teach people how to invest. And that idea popped into my head and I was sitting on it for a while because I was like, okay, so how do I get people to trust me to teach them? How do I launch this course? And then I created a course that I thought was going to be the course, but instead I made it my webinar. So I'm like, I'm going to do this as a webinar, a free webinar, and not the paid course. And I'm going to promote the detailed course with this webinar. So that's what I essentially did. I created kind of like an intro to investing class, did it as like a free webinar, and then got people to sign up for my advanced investing class, which was not even created yet.
Yes, I love it. That's genius. And that's something that I teach all the time. Like, get the people seats and create the course. So I love that you did it that way. That's very creative. And you made use of the resources that you already had. And so that makes me super happy. The other thing that you did was you pivoted to your market. Like you listened to, what people were saying, what people were talking about, what they wanted, and essentially you just gave them just that. And so
exactly.
I always tell people like that is really like the name of the game, right? Is that yes, you can get into this doing one thing, but if you don't pay attention to your market and the people that you actually want to serve, now you're not changing everything, right? You're not changing your foundation of like who you are, what your accomplishments are, those sorts of things, and who you want to serve. What you're doing is you're pivoting the way that you package your information towards what people want at the time. And so you did a really excellent job of listening to your market and just being resourceful with what you had. So applauses and you, because you literally applied everything that we talked about inside of the course. And I'm very excited to see your progress. So talk to us a little bit about like, what made you decide that you wanted to create a course in the very beginning?
So I was realizing while I was trying to teach financial literacy, my whole premise in the beginning was, okay, you're going to be a coach. You're going to coach people. But most people aren't like signing up to get coaching classes, right? Most people aren't looking for a coach. So I'm like, all right, how do I get people to come to me? Like, how do I get people to let me coach them? And especially prior to COVID, I actually was able to go into schools. I was able to have workshops. But once COVID happened and I'm home, I'm like, how am I going to get people to call me to sign up for coaching services? So I realized I had to package something. I had to make my service like a product. I had to give them something that they could buy into and get my services. So that's when I thought I need to create a class, and my class is like my product, but I'm coaching them and I'm group coaching them and everyone who signs up. So I'm still providing that financial coaching, but it's not contingent on someone clicking on my website, scheduling a call with me. They don't have to make the same steps to commit or for me to get that same goal that I'm looking for.
Yeah, so it was like fulfillment on both aspects, on both ends, like fulfillment for you, but also fulfillment for your clients and your prospects and all the folks, your students, essentially. So you just packaged it differently. So I love that. All right. So what piece of advice would you give to someone who was looking to get into the world of starting an online business or creating a course? Like, what would you say to them just getting started?
What I would say is kind of similar to my previous point is think about what your product is going to be, right? I'm saying product loosely because mine is a service, but think about what you're going to package. So I was thinking about like, what is it that I could sell to people? And I could, sell to people this investing class that's going to teach you how to generate additional income. So it's like, I needed to find out what my offer was, what my package is, because like I said, people aren't going to necessarily say, I'm looking for a coach. And if you have an actual product, right? Like if you know how to make soap or you know how to make wigs or whatever it is, right? It's kind of like, how do you package that and make it valuable for your potential customers or your potential clients? So thinking about why would they want it, right? Like, why do they care? And I think investing was easier than the budgeting, because budgeting, people know they should budget. People know that they should manage their money, but sometimes they don't care enough. Yeah. Well, investing, they know they want to make money. So it's like, I could take this class and I could make money by taking this class. You're more interested. So I was just trying to sell to their want, essentially. What is it that they want? And I was able to do that because I also took a survey from people asking, and I kind of got that from you, Dr. Sonia, kind of like your surveys. And I was giving people a Google form trying to figure out, why do they want to invest? What do they want to get out of investing? If they was able to make an additional $1,000 a month, how would it help them? And I just spoke to that specifically. They told me what they wanted to get from investing, and I put that in there. This is what you will get from my course. So
those surveys pay off, don't they? Like, it's like, why build something? Why spend so much time and energy building something and not know if it's going to land? Like a lot of times, a lot of entrepreneurs and creatives, we build things initially around what we think people should have and what we think we want to give to them, but we really need to be focused on, what do they want? Like, ask them what they want and then just give it to them. Like, that is such a surefire way to sell something. I mean, yeah, so I like that. I like that you took the surveys and you made good use of them. So talk to us a little bit more about, like, what does your course go into? Tell us about what your course is about.
So my course is about investing. So it essentially teaches you how to be a long-term investor and also how to invest for income, which is essentially trading. So I go through kind of like entry level, nothing about investing, right? This is your first time getting into the market. And then I work my way up to, how to read stock charts, how to do fundamental analysis and look at a company's income statement and determine if this is a good company, how to, speak the lingo, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? So I kind of teach you from beginner to more advanced. So when you leave the class, you're literally able to, before you leave the class, you're able to make money in your brokerage account. And some of my students have been making money in their brokerage account for more than what the class is worth before the class is over.
That is amazing. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, can you get your students or your clients a return on investment so they feel like hey, I invested in myself, but look how quickly I got my return on investment, if you just apply the strategy. So that's amazing. Congratulations to you that your course is extremely successful. Now, how long is the course, Taydana?
6 weeks. So it's a 6 week course, and I did it every week, same time, same day. And it was via like Zoom, just logging on to the Zoom calls every week.
Nice. And so now I know your students are successful, but what is your success rate? So how many students did you have? Are you pricing your course at, if you don't mind sharing?
So I had 7 students, and I was pricing my course at $497.
Nice. Definitely profitable. Rolling in the dough. Go ahead, girl. I love it. I love it. Incorporated everything. So the premium pricing, that's super important. I always say stick between 8 to 10 students, right? Especially like for a first time launch of whatever course you're putting out there. And I still do the same. So if I'm launching new courses, there's always 8 to 10 students, so I can make sure that, we see how students are progressing through the course, and we can incorporate any feedback that they have into the next time that we launch. So are you planning for next launch?
Yes, I actually want to do it again the first week of December. I know it's holiday time, but I kind of want to do it before we get into the new year, because I don't want to wait. I just feel like I want to do another one the first week of December. So I'm planning on doing another launch.
That's exciting. And you can definitely do it. I mean, from our conversations and our time together, holidays are just holidays. Like, people are still spending. You just got to find the right audience. And I know when we first started, that was a thing too, right? Where we had to pivot some of your marketing because you were receiving and I'm talking about for your budgeting class, the initial class, you were receiving a lot of feedback from like schools who wanted you to come teach your curriculum to their students. And you're like, Doc, I like the kids, but I really want to help the adults. And so I just love hearing your success. I just love it. I can't give you enough kudos for being resourceful and really, like, this is the true definition of taking the concepts and the things that we learned over the 7 weeks in CYOC and just applying them, like getting creative, but still applying those like foundational concepts. And man, this is what success looks like, when I can have a student to come through and just understand the concepts and make it your own. Like, I love it. And you are all smiles. So I'm happy that your course is going so well. So let's give some folks some additional advice. What would you say, like, going forward in getting ready to launch the second cohort for your class? What would you say is something that people need to keep in mind as they're growing in an online business? Like, what are some of the challenges and some of the feedback that you can give to folks?
I think you have to have a way to keep funneling people into your business. So the way that I did it the first time was with my free webinar, because people didn't know who I was. So I had to let them know, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I had to give them some value for free so they could sign up for the paid class, right? But not give away all the juice, but give away enough that you're like, okay, I got some useful information. If you want to learn more, then you would sign up for the class. So I think you have to give them something, right? Some free 99, whatever it is, that has some value to it. And also, now that I have, some testimonials, I have more evidence that I could speak to because I've actually did the class already. So that's going to help me sell a little bit more because I have, clients that made money. And like you said, the return on your investment, I can actually say that now. Before I could have said it, but it's like, I don't know if they will. I hope they will. But since some clients actually have, then it's like, I could say, you could make this money back before you even finish the class. And, right now I'm still sticking at that price point, even though I think it could go higher, still, because not enough people know me yet. But eventually, as I, have a few more classes, I may raise the price, or a few more testimonials. But I think just keep putting yourself out there. Let people know that you have something to sell, right? It's not a secret. So let people know that you have something, and keep talking about how it could benefit them or give them that awesome outcome, as you like to put it, that you want.
Yeah, definitely. And I love all the points that you made. The one that I want to highlight is, if you can't give your free 99, right, then you're probably not going deep enough inside of your course. So you're absolutely right. In your webinars or your info sessions, or whatever terminology you want to use for those sessions where you're bringing people in for them to get to know you, for them to understand your teaching style, like, you got to be able to give free 99, give value, before somebody's going to pay you to learn more about what it is that you're teaching. And if you're not able to give the free value, then you're not going deep enough in your paid course. So I love that you were able to do that. That tells me that your course is popping. I love it. So what would you say is the biggest rookie mistake that you made when you just started out?
Probably similar to the last answer. I wasn't offering them anything for my first class. My first class, it was just sign up for my class, right? This is me, this is about me, but no one actually interacted with me. No one actually heard me speak. So it was kind of them taking a bigger chance on me, because I got the most signups from when I did my webinar. So I think that not putting yourself out there, especially if you don't have a big audience like me, I didn't have a big audience. I was just getting my business on Instagram. I think you actually have to put yourself out there. And my free 99 happened to be a class, right? So people actually saw me speaking, they saw me in action, they saw me being sarcastic. So I didn't have that the first time I did it. So I think that was a mistake on my part, because I didn't give them value beforehand. So now, until you become more seasoned and people already know you're valuable because you have a track record, I think in the beginning you have to give them some value, especially your course. Not to say, I think my course is kind of cheap. It's $497, but it's not like a cheap, $25 thing where people is like, oh, it's $25. Like, if you want $500 from someone, a premium price, you have to give them a little taste, right? Before they probably commit.
That's right. And the other way that you can accomplish that too is, I like teaching, and I can tell that you do too. And so it's one of those things where it just kind of comes naturally. For a lot of people, it doesn't, right? And so one of the ways that I teach that you could still convey that and show people your teaching style, your personality, your charisma, is to hop on these platforms and pop on video sometimes, give a mini lesson, or show people what's going on behind the scenes, show them how you're creating through this process, show them what your day looks like a little bit, let people in, because at the end of the day, like you said, you pointed out, you're like, I hopped on and they see my sarcasm, and all of these things. Like, people want that. People want authentic, people want genuine. They want to know that you are a person, and that as they're investing in you, like, yes, they're going to get the learning, but they're also going to get you. People pay for access to you, what I mean? And so I love that you highlighted that. Now, what about the self-doubt, procrastination, fear, those types of things? Did they come up when you were first getting started, and how did you overcome them if they did?
I think that's always there for everyone, right? I think everyone always have that self-doubt, that fear. And as that quote says, you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. So I always still have that, right? I still have that where I'm like, oh, what are people going to say? What if they don't like this? What if this? And it never goes as bad as I think is going to go, right? We're like kind of our own worst critics. So you just have to, as long as you feel prepared, right? That's going to take away some of the fear. Preparing yourself, like whatever it is you're teaching, practicing it, going over it. If it's material that you know, what you should, because it's your class, practice it. And you just gotta kind of like go for it, do it. And the quote that you used to say, Dr. Sonia, that sticks with me is, done is better than perfect. At some point, you're going to have to create something and put it out there and just make it done. Like I said, when I did that webinar, I didn't even have my investing class yet. I said, sign up for my class, and I didn't have a class. So I had to put a class together I think I gave myself 3 weeks from the time it might have been 2 weeks actually, from the time that I did my webinar that my class was starting. I had to create a class. I put the slides together. It had to be done because people paid me for a class. And maybe in hindsight, I would have felt like, oh, is this good? Is this enough? But I can't say, guys, I don't feel confident enough with this. I'm going to give you your money back. Like, it's done. It's done. And then put it out there and tweak it if you need to. So, when I do it again, I may take out some slides, add new slides, but you just have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Just put something out there, see how people perceive it, receive it, and you could always update it. It's not like, you can't change it later, but see what you need updating. What you may think is not that good, someone else may think is amazing. So see, you got to just feel the fear and still do what you have to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with that. And you're right. Like it goes back to the point that I made earlier about we don't create for us. We're creating for other people so that we can help them move forward. And so it doesn't really matter. That's what I keep in the back of my mind is like at the end of the day, you don't matter. Like your purpose, right? Your purpose, your mission, like those are the things that matter. How many lives are you going to impact, right? Two of the questions that I always ask, and now I've started asking them to other folks are, number one, what were you born to do? And number two, what are you going to do with the time that you have left? Because tomorrow isn't promised, forever isn't promised, but we have right now. And the things that we know right now that can impact someone else and add value, like we need to be doing those things. And so again, I applaud you for stepping out there, putting yourself out there in spite of or despite your fears and limiting beliefs. You're right. They never go away. No matter what level you get to, you just got to keep going up. So I love that. Now, where do you see, one of my last questions for you, Taydana, where do you see your brand going for the future? Let's say 6 months, a year from now, 5 years from now, what do you see for your brand?
So my ultimate goal is I want my company to be a household name when it comes to financial education. And beyond that, I want to, be one of the people, I'm sure I'm not going to be the only person, but one of the people who's helping to bridge the wealth gap, especially in the Black and Brown communities. Because, I worked in corporate America finance my whole life, and there's not a lot of us. And there are a lot of people who are not, investing, not generating wealth and building wealth for their families. And I think it's because we don't think we can, and we don't realize that we could also be building generational wealth. So I want to be able to kind of normalize that in our communities. And, if my company could help do that in any way, that would be, my ultimate goal.
I love that. And I totally forgot about that. Like when we first started together, you like just quit your job not long before that, right? Did you walk away?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
I did.
Yeah, you're like, I just quit my job and I'm trying to figure out like, how can I do this? Because I knew you knew, and I want you to tell your story in your own words. But from what I remember, I feel like, I think you were telling me like, I know that I'm not meant to work corporate America for the rest of my life. So here I am. So tell us a little bit about that.
Exactly. I've been working in corporate America since senior year of high school. I was interning in a big investment bank, and I essentially kept that same path like my whole career. I got my degree in financial economics. I did what my parents wanted me to do, right? I went, got a degree, got a good job paying me a lot of money. And I did that for a long time. And, fast forward, I started to have kids. I became a mom. And I was like, this work-life balance struggle is no joke. And it just wasn't rewarding for me anymore to kind of be in that rat race. I was like, I feel like I could do better than this. And it wasn't even about the money. I was just like, this isn't my passion anymore. I want to be able to have time for my family. I feel like they don't see me. I'm up 6 o'clock out the house, drop them off to school, see them like in the evening. And I just, one day I was like, you know what, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. I'm done with this. This is it. And it's crazy because I didn't have a plan B. It was just like, I had enough of this. And, you know, my mom was like, so you quit your job. So what you going to do? And I was just like, I'm going to figure it out. And, you know, that was almost 2 years ago. And I have not, you know, had to get a job since. And essentially, you know, it was just through some time and some self-discovery that I decided to become an entrepreneur and start my business. And, you know, the reason I was able to do that, you know, I wasn't rich. I didn't grow up in money, but I was investing for a long time. I had savings. So I was like, I'm gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. And, you know, luckily 2 years later, I still haven't had to go, you know, clocking at anyone's job. But it's like, I wanted people to be able to do that as well, have that financial independence, have that financial freedom, and just, you know, be able to build generational wealth. I don't want my children to have to clock in at a job unless they want to. I want them to be able to make the decision if they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to do whatever they want to do. They have to go to school, right? Because I want to make sure they get the education. But I also want them to have the freedom to make the choices they want to make without feeling like I have to do this job because that's what I'm supposed to do. Like I'm supposed to work and have a job. So I don't want to just, you know, work for someone for the rest of my life and then die. It's like, I'm working now, but I'm working for me. And like you said, it's not even, I'm not working for me because of me. I'm working for me because I have a bigger purpose to kind of help, you know, my people, essentially help my community build financial freedom, build wealth, build legacy.
That's right. I love it. I love it. And it's kind of a similar story to me too. I talk about it all the time. Like, yes, I went all the way to my PhD for purely intrinsic. Let me not say purely, because majority of that was just for my own benefit because I love learning. But the reason I got into education and started going to school in the first place was I wanted to make my parents proud. You know, I wanted to make my parents proud. They didn't get an opportunity to go to further their education, right? And so I was like, all right, well, let me do this. And then I started getting into it. I always loved learning and reading and writing and all those things my whole life. So I found it to be interesting, right? I was somewhat motivated to go and get my education, but the primary reason was I wanted to make my parents proud. And I almost got stuck in that never-ending loop as well, you know, whereas we get an education to get a better job, and then we get a nice job and it's paying nice, but then I'm sacrificing 40, 60 hours a week for somebody else's stuff and dream. And meanwhile, my dreams, my goals are in the back seat. Like, girl, when are you going to focus over here? And I can't because I don't have enough time, or I'm too tired and now my energy is drained, or, you know, now I'm wondering, okay, I don't really have a savings. How am I going to pay my bills if I decide to quit? And so it came to a head, you know, one day I was just like, I can't do this. Will not be life. And I got up and I submitted my 2 weeks. And like, granted, I had launched my business and granted, I had a few sales come through, but I really didn't understand what the strategy was going to be to sustain my success. And I was met with the same conversation from my mom, like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I will make it work. So, you know, here we are now about 2.5 years later, and it's working, and it's working great. And so I couldn't be happier. So again, I'm very excited for you. I'm very excited for what the future holds for you. I know that the information that you are putting out there is effective, and it's more than effective. It's changing the way that we in our community think about finances and wealth building. And for that, I'm very, very excited and happy for you, and proud of you, and very proud of you, Taydana. So would you recommend CYOC? Would you recommend someone coming into the program and creating their course?
Yes, I definitely would, because it does help set a foundation of what you need to do and give you kind of like a blueprint or a roadmap of what you should be thinking about, because you don't really have all the steps that you need to create your class in the beginning, right? It's kind of just like a thought. You may not even know what you want to teach. Like me, I didn't even know what I wanted to teach in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I know finance. I know a lot of stuff about, money and making money and saving money. I'm going to teach a course. But then it took some time before I even kind of pulled it together, figured out who my audience was, figure out what I want to price it. So it really helps give you a foundation and a good roadmap to follow.
Awesome. I'm super glad. So tell everybody before we get out of here where they can find you.
So you could find me at, my website is www.legendarywealthbuilders.com, and my social media handles are the same, legendary_wealthbuilders. So you can definitely find me there. Follow me, check out my free 99s on my website and sign up for my newsletters, because I'm always dropping some financial gems. So make sure that you connect.
Love it. So again, Taydana, I want to thank you for being here. It was amazing catching up with you.
Yes.
Super excited to see. I know, it's been a long time, but super excited to see what's to come for you, your brand, and your amazing journey forward. So wishing you all the best and much, much success going forward. You know that you are a CYOC Jump First and Jump First Academy member. So you are not going anywhere. So we'll be talking again very soon. Thank you again, Taydana.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia. Take care.